It is unclear if the expression "may you live in interesting times" is a blessing or a curse. Either way, I cannot imagine living in a more interesting time than now. And while there is plenty of chaos and uncertainty in the world today, I feel it's a blessing to be a contemporary of Novak Djokovic. We are witnessing the absolute greatest tennis player and possibly the greatest sportsman of all time, as he is writing history and setting records that may never be broken. There are too many things to talk about after this US Open to put them all in one video. So in this video, we will focus on Novak's newest records, his history at the US Open, the greatness of Medvedev, and the nasty rumors about a new weak era that Novak haters have been spreading. Let's get into it. We begin with the records, because that's what it's all about at this stage of Novak's career. He has not only surpassed all others in every relevant tennis statistic, but he has left them in the dust. Obviously, he won his 24th major title, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. The 2023 US Open is his 69th big title. Djokovic now has 12 big titles more than Nadal and 15 more than Federer. Some people have objected to my statement that the GOAT race is not even close. But how can you call it close when Novak has nearly 100 weeks at number 1 and 12 big titles more than his nearest competitors? And the deeper we get into the numbers, the distance between the undisputed GOAT and the rest of the field becomes clearer. Novak not only has the most Grand Slam titles, but also the most Slam finals and semifinals. Furthermore, Novak has set these records by facing the toughest competition. Djokovic has the most top 5, top 10, and top 20 wins in Grand Slams. And he has done this by playing in 9 slams less than Federer. All that the casual fans count are trophies. But the gap between Djokovic and the other two is far greater than what the title count would have you believe. Everything that I just said also applies to the US Open. This was Novak's 4th US Open title, which equals Nadal and brings him to just 1 behind Federer's 5. However, despite being tied in titles, Novak already has a far better record at the US Open than Nadal, and there's a strong argument that his record is better than even Federer's. Djokovic played more finals, semifinals, and has a higher win percentage than both. And just like in all slams, Novak has faced the toughest competition at the US Open. He faced the most top 5, top 10, and top 20 opponents. And we must take a moment to talk about Nadal's inflated title count. For years, his fans taunted Djokovic supporters for having won more US Opens. But the truth is that Nadal got his US Open titles thanks to ridiculously easy draws. If you don't believe me, look at the numbers. I will talk more about Nadal's super weak US Open titles in another video, because it really is something to behold. The truth, which Nadal fans knew all along, is that Djokovic was always far better, and I am eternally grateful to Novak, the GOAT, for slapping that stupid argument out of their mouths. When it comes to Novak's records, there is one more important thing to keep in mind. Even though Djokovic is statistically far ahead of Federer and Nadal, that distance should be even greater. COVID and corruption robbed Novak of extending his records even further. In 2020, Wimbledon was cancelled, and they disqualified him from the US Open. In 2022, they unjustly deported him from Australia and banned him from traveling to America when the pandemic was already over. That's 4 Grand Slams at which he was the clear favorite. Not to mention the 4 Masters that he couldn't play last year, dozens of weeks at number 1, as well as year-end number 1 title stolen through dirty politics. In 1996, the International Olympic Committee awarded Muhammad Ali a gold medal as a replacement for the Olympic gold that he won 36 years prior and then threw into a river in protest of racism. I hope that one day, when the world is more just, somebody will give back to Novak what is rightfully his. Until then, don't complain to me when I put an asterisk next to Nadal's fake Australian Open or Alcaraz's fake number 1. Changing the subject, let's take a moment to put some respect on Medvedev's name.
Respect is important.
The haters who were hoping that Novak would lose are now criticizing Daniil's performance. Maybe they couldn't see through the tears in their eyes, but he played a great final, and made Djokovic earn the victory. Not to mention that he took out the establishment's new poster boy when nobody thought he had a chance. The only reason why they put down Medvedev is because by discrediting him, they want to discredit Novak. Maybe his critics could explain to me, if Daniil is so weak, how come he has played more slam finals than Safin and Hewitt, has the same number of slams as Roddick, and has more big titles than all of them? All of this while competing against the big three his whole career, and he's still only 27. And finally, let's talk about the malicious, weak era gossip that's been going around. Just a few months ago, when Novak lost the Wimbledon final, all the haters rejoiced and the prostitutes announced the beginning of the Alcaraz era. But after Novak wagged his finger, they're crying about the weak era again. Which is it, guys? Alcaraz era or a weak era? It's neither. It is the era of Novak Djokovic, the greatest tennis player of all time. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.